as I said in my video returning to my SteelSeries 6GV2 keyboard after a few months, you can check here to find that, I decided I needed to go back and take another look at my SteelSeries Sensei Wireless, my wireless gaming mouse from SteelSeries that I reviewed about 5 or so months ago. It is important every time you review a product to make sure enough time has been put in to really get your impressions on the product, and that's what I've done here.
This video is brought to you by Green Man Gaming. GMG is a unique game store that is jam-packed full of great deals and sales, and even lets you trade in your old games towards new game purchases. Click the screen to sign up and get $2 free towards your next game purchase.
The SteelSeries Sensei Wireless is still probably one of my favorite gaming mice to date. It is probably not my favorite, as my favorite is still the Logitech G430 Proteus Core gaming mouse, which you can find up here, but it's still my daily driver and my main mouse that I'm always going to use on my main computer for the time being at least, because it's wireless. It still handles all of the amazing requirements that I have of a mouse or a gaming mouse in general, but it does that in a wireless fashion. I have way too many wires in my setup to keep worrying about having a mouse wire, which is constantly moving in my setup, and so this wireless mouse is exactly perfect for what I needed. As far as the positives go for this mouse, obviously it's wireless. Wireless is amazing as long as it's done right, and there's a fast enough pulling rate and response time, and a complete lack of input lag that it makes, using this mouse as a wireless mouse a really good deal. It has a high sensitivity that can go from 0 to, I believe, 16,000 CPI. However, the default, I don't entirely understand how it works, but the actual main DPI CPI sensitivity for the mouse is 8200, which is where I have kept it at, and I love it. However, it can also go up to 16,400, and I think that's through some sort of software acceleration, so I've never messed with it, but it can actually go much more sensitive. The charging base is really, really cool in that it lights up around the ring of the mount where the mouse sits in, and it indicates to you the battery level of the mouse. It'll either be green, yellow, or red, depending on how charged the battery is. Now, I've only ever rarely actually made it go into the yellow or red, given that every time I'm done with it, I turn the mouse off and put it on the charger. But there have been times when I've done long gaming sessions where it started going into the yellow and the red, and it saved me from an issue of the mouse dying on me while I was doing something very important, and all I gotta do is unplug the cord from the base and plug it into the mouse to keep using it while it charges. The charging base is also very convenient in that it's totally out of the way and I can just set the mouse on it when I'm done using it to charge it. However, I have had, now this has been very rare, it's been 3 times total since I've used it, but I have had certain nights when I've put the mouse on the charger seemingly perfectly in place, and it hasn't actually been charging, and then I'll turn on the mouse and it'll not have a full charge anymore, and that's been a couple of the times when it's gone into the orange, yellow, or red, because for whatever reason it just wasn't perfectly sitting on the contacts, and I really had no way of knowing this to myself, because to me it was sitting on there just fine. At probably the second time that it happened, I was actually really afraid that the charging base was about to become malfunctioning and not charge anymore, but it's, other than those couple instances, it's worked perfectly fine. So it's not an issue of the contacts on the mouse itself, it's just making sure you're firmly putting it on the contacts and in the place, which is easy to do once you know to look out for it. The LED lighting on the mouse is awesome. I've left it on the default breathing pattern because I just like that the best in things, and you can customize it to whatever you like. The scroll wheel was something that drove me nuts on what I just deemed my favorite gaming mouse of the Logitech Proteus Core, in that often clicking the scroll mouse button would cause me to switch items in-game and go crazy. I'd be playing Battlefield and go to throw a grenade, and it'd start to throw a grenade, change its mind, switch to a secondary gun, and then I'd be screwed and get killed. This has only ever happened twice on the SteelSeries Sensei Wireless, and I could tell I was doing it as it happened. I could tell I was turning the wheel as I was pressing the button, versus it just doing it on its own. And so the snappiness of the scroll wheel button is actually one of my favorite features. The on-off switch is in a perfect position on the bottom of the mouse where you can just turn it over and reach it with your thumb, and it's really easy to flip. I really like that. The mouse is also pretty much ambidextrous, as it's perfectly fit to where it's going to fit the exact same in your left hand or right hand, And the back and forward buttons are on both sides, which is very convenient whether or not you're a lefty or a righty. On to the less positives, but not necessarily negatives, is that I don't, which is just my pet peeve with mice in general, though I see how they can be convenient, I don't like having DPI, CPI adjustment buttons on the mouse. I like having extra buttons on mice, so I like having the buttons where they are, but to me it makes absolutely no sense to have an easy to accidentally hit DPI adjustment on a mouse. In 90% of cases, you're gonna set a DPI and you're gonna use it. Yes, there are some applications, especially if you use a mouse with as high sensitivity as 16,000 or 12,000 or whatever, that you need to crank it down for a certain use. But having like 50 DPI settings set and a button that just cycles through them is going to screw you up in game. And so on every mouse I've used since I've used the Proteus Core, I've turned it off, and I've done just this on the SteelSeries Sensei Wireless. And so those back and forward buttons on the side, I've totally disabled. It's just a pain in the butt to have them there. And so for the first week or so that I used it, when those were still enabled, it was very frustrating. But it's very simple to disable it in the software. Generally, software for gaming accessories regarding changing the lightings and the button mapping and things like that is a pretty pain in the butt to use. However, the SteelSeries Profiler software is actually pretty easy to use and uses up minimal computer resources, so props to them for that. Overall, my experience with the SteelSeries Sensei Wireless has still been great, and I still stand by my original recommendation in my original review. If you're looking for the original review or a more detailed review in general, I do recommend checking it out here in the description below. It is from August 2013, though, so there will be quality differences and things like that. However, it's still a good review, and like I said, I still stand by my recommendation if you're looking for a wireless mouse. It is a bit pricey, but for everything you would get in a normal high-level gaming mouse put in a wireless package, can't really go wrong there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, my name's been Adam, or Vox. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you liked it, leave a dislike if you disliked it, leave us a comment telling us what your favorite gaming mouse is, or what a gaming mouse that you would like to see us review would be. And if your feelings go beyond dislike or like, leave us a comment as well. Be sure to check the link in the description for support links to contribute to us via a monthly contribution. Check out our vlog channel, our other channels, our Pokemon channels, our Geek channel, all the channels under the sun, and social media links and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in a future video. Bye-bye.